I think you had a microphone on. Elevated! Today, we have a special guest.
My name is Shelby Snipes. I'm a very special guest.
Yeah.
We got very.
She's obviously my sister. Okay, so we're going to be reviewing a video I was watching today from a YouTuber, Pink Lessons, talking about strong black women. But before we get into that, really quick, Shelby, just give us a really quick intro about what you who you are, and two, what you think a strong black woman is.
Who I am? Well, my name is Shelby Snipes. I am in sales. Been in sales for a while. But I'm pretty, strong, opinionated.
Definitely.
Opinionated, strong-minded. What I think of a strong black woman is someone who, thinks on their own, and I don't know, just someone who's not like stupid. Well, we all can be stupid, but I don't know. Just people like my grandmother and stuff like that. People I model myself after. People who aren't afraid to live life. People who don't give up. I just think of it as a strong woman, but we have an extra layer of being black, so we have to be sometimes put out the energy that we're extra strong, but sometimes that can be a front, because sometimes we put on the front that we are strong, but deep down inside we still got the same issues that everyone else has, like depression, stress, anxiety. But sometimes we can't show that because we don't want people to think we're fake, or not fake, but not strong, because then people might take that for weakness when it really isn't, just being human. But that's my take, is we have to
Okay, all right, I can respect that. All right, so now, engineering fan, we're gonna go ahead and pull up this video really quick.
Put my glasses on so I can see.
We're gonna have some commentary.
Back with part 2 of my commentary on Cocktails with Queens, a recent episode, and they too discussed Carrie Hilson's comments that she made on Twitter. I did a full breakdown on those comments. If you want to see that video, I will leave the link below in the description. And just a little background, Carrie Hilson is a really good friend of Claudia Jordan. But let's go ahead and get into it.
But we're going to quote our girl Carrie Hilson. She put up this Instagram post, and she said this: "Men who provide emotional security and display wide leadership will get the softest, most feminine, relaxed, trusting, guard down, submissive, nurturing version of their woman. Even successful, strong women want to feel safe enough to be soft. That is our true nature. The man who makes me feel safe will have the world." I was actually on the phone with Carrie today and my girl Nikki, and we were talking about this, about you cannot just bring, and excuse my language, foxhole people, you can't just bring dick to the table.
Right.
It's not enough. You have to bring it. And
Okay, so we're just gonna stop it right there really quick. So one of the things she said is you can't just bring, quote, D to the table. So what do you think about that?
What are you talking about? What Claudia said, or with
What Carrie Hilson said? Is that true, or is that not?
I definitely think if you are in a relationship, and sometimes women go through a lot. Sometimes you got to go through a lot of losers to find the one that's gonna be the diamond. And sometimes it's hard when you let your guard down and people have taken advantage of it. It's kind of hard to go back, and that's with any woman. I think that if you once you find and once you trust the person, because everyone brings their baggage, but once you find and trust a person, that the woman is, and I don't think that when they say submit, it's like what people think it is. I think if you give up, break down, if you're able to let that person, you can trust them with your emotions, and be I would say be vulnerable, and that's really hard to do when you've been screwed over a lot. But when it happens, it is like a weight coming off your back that you can tell this person anything, they won't use it against you later, and you can trust them with with anything. And but I you have to, whatever you put out is what you give in. So I can do that too for the man, and he can do that for me. Then that's how you build.
Okay,
build a unit.
A very long answer, but
yeah,
okay.
sure. I'm a little ADHD.
Yeah, okay, all right.
But yeah, I agree with what she said.
Okay. All right. Well, in my opinion, I think that any guy who just brings the D to the table. Let me go ahead and rewind that because let's skip to the head a little bit. Any guy who just brings the D to the table isn't really worth that much anyway. But at the same time, women have to bring more than just the P to the table as well. So let's go ahead and keep watching.
Most feminine, relaxed, trusting, guard down, submissive, nurturing version of their woman. Even successful, strong women want to feel safe enough to be soft. That is our true nature. The man who makes me feel safe will have the world. I was actually on the phone with Carrie today and my girl Nikki, and we were talking about this, about you cannot just bring, and excuse my language, foxhole people, you can't just bring dick to the table.
Right.
It's not enough. You have to bring more. And if we trust in you and we feel like you're a leader and you got our back, you won't get the aggressive, you ain't doing, you'll get the soft. We want to be, our nature is to be soft. Ladies, what do you think about our post? And let's speak on it. Let's get into it.
And if you missed it, Claudia just said that you can't just bring D to the table. She's talking about men. And it's good that she understands that concept very well. Yet they don't understand that women just can't bring their you-know-what to the table. Cardi B and Meg Thee Stallion, they made the song highlighting how these women really think that's all they need. Sometimes even when you ask women what they bring to the table, they'll say, I am the table. I just don't get why they don't see that part. And then she agreed that men should follow Carrie Hilson's advice in order to get feminine, submissive women. And I know I've said this countless times, but you cannot turn femininity on and off. You cannot learn femininity in a class. You're either feminine or you're not.
I absolutely loved it. It was very mature. You can hear that she is speaking from experience because she has gone through something, as most of us women have, because we've been in relationships where we've had to do this and we've had to walk away. You know what I mean? And we have now stood up to say that I want to be evenly yoked with somebody because I want to build with somebody. I want you to bring something to the table because we're independent now. And it's supposed to be that way. It's supposed to be the king is the leader. You're supposed to lead the family. So lead. Do that. And when you have someone that's doing that and crossing all the T's and dotting all the I's, and you don't have to look back or look under you because you feel supported, you feel loved, you feel protected, then you're absolutely right. What is there to fuss?
Okay, so we were commenting on that, but you seem like you wanted to say something.
Yeah, I think it's like whoever the commentary is, it's kind of all over the place because one has nothing to do with the other. I mean, that's entertainment. She's talking about Meg Thee Stallion and Cardi B, the WAP, which I love that song, but it doesn't mean that I agree with like this. That's not the same thing. One is entertainment, one is real life, and they're not equal. I can understand what Carrie Hilson was saying and still like WAP at the same time. Doesn't mean that I agree that all I gotta do is give up my goods and then I'll get everything I want. One has nothing to do with the other. I think she's all over the place with her logic.
Okay. Well, let's keep going.
About. If there's love and a mutual friendship and foundation of just that, and you taking care of business across the board, and wherever you weak, then we know how to kind of level that off and balance that off. I know you love me. You have shown that you love me, so I got to show that back to you. I can't be like, you say bow and I say boom. You know what I mean? It don't work that way. It's like you're protecting me and upholding me. I want to do the same thing for you because I want you to know that I got your back. I'm your woman too.
I mean, seriously, the older they get, the more deceptive, the more manipulative, and just pretty stuff up. She agreed with what Carrie Hilson said. In fact, she said,
I want you to bring something to the table because we're independent now. And it's supposed to be that way. It's supposed to be the king is the leader. You're supposed to lead the family. So lead.
All that babble, but what she really means is we're independent now. We can take care of ourselves. So if you're not bringing more to the table than what I can do for myself, then I don't need you because
we're independent now.
And she's saying that if you do not bring something to the table that has significant value to her, then she won't respect you as a leader. And then you won't get the most agreeable feminine version of her. You see?
Selena, what do you think? Oh, go ahead. Yeah, no.
I mean, it's facts. And I think that, being women who are in strong positions, all of us are bosses, all of us are CEOs, all of us own our own companies, and all of us have employees, and we're delegating all the time. And so we have adapted this controlling nature that a man on the outside looking in, we're controlling because we're trying to control our business and bring money in.
Okay, so that's something that's interesting, because when women have their own businesses, they have employees, finance, payroll, all that stuff, is it easy to turn it off? I mean, can you still, I'll let you answer, can you still have all that, be a boss and all that stuff, and still come home and submit to your man?
Yeah. So you have to explain what you mean by submit.
I mean, can you let your man take the lead? Can you follow his directions? Are you going to treat him like you treat an employee? Because a lot of times you'll often hear people say that men bring their work home. And if you are a monster at work, if you killing it at work, but you're also a super asshole, a lot of times for guys, just being honest, it's really difficult to turn off. Like when people who are very ambitious, they command the room and all that stuff. For a man, when he comes home, a lot of times that's who he's gonna be at home as well. So my thing is, for women who are also highly ambitious, also run their own businesses and all that stuff, it's a dog-eat-dog world. So my thing is, are women able to turn that off when they come home and fall back into the role of, let's say, a wife or that partner? Or does that sometimes come back home with you? And in many ways, does it make women seem more masculine?
I think that every relationship is different. So I think that it is possible to turn it off. And I think a lot of women, I think that they want someone to, when you are the boss at work, I would imagine that you want someone to, be in charge at home too, so you don't have to do it at both places. And everyone falls in line. You should have that type of arrangement before you get into a marriage or a relationship when you have kids and stuff. Or what are your expectations and what are my expectations, and follow through with that. I think that's why it's very important to do counseling before marriage, to work that stuff out, because what works for you may not work for someone else. Maybe the guy doesn't mind the wife being, in the head of, actually the woman kind of runs the house anyway, but
running the house
and being a leader
are two different
things. And I think that sometimes when if there's lacking someplace, I think that it's automatically that women would take, they'll take the lead on some things. But I wouldn't have a problem with it. But I do think that every relationship is different, and what's good for you may not be good for someone else. That's why it's important to have that counseling to work that stuff out and communicate before you get married. Is
it unfair to kind of expect a woman to be that, that boss B, as they like to say? Is it unfair to expect that woman to be that boss B and be feminine, and by feminine I know that's very vague, but is it unfair to say that you can be that boss B and still come home and be in your feminine and kind of let the man kind of take control? And my thing is, the guy might not necessarily be at your economic level. So there's not too many guys that are going to be at Vivica Fox's economic level. It just is. She's a multimillionaire. So there's not too many guys who are good that's going to be dating her that's going to be at her level. So is it possible for her to turn that off, or is it just it is what it is?
I think there is a lot of guys that will be at her level. They may not necessarily be in entertainment. Men still make more money than women, even if they're black men.
But we're talking about Vivica Fox here.
Right.
There's most guys, even if she does find a guy, if she finds a guy at her economic level, understand that that guy is going to have a lot of choices of women. So he might not necessarily want a woman who's a multimillionaire. And I'm telling you, most guys really don't want a woman to be a multimillionaire, because if he's already a millionaire, billionaire, whatever, he's going to have his choices of the 20-year-old swimsuit models. He's going to have his choices of the whatever, the Playboy models, the whatever. But they might not, because again, for a guy to be at Vivica Fox's economic level, he's going to be older most times. And I mean, she's probably maybe in her 50s or close to her 50s by now. So you're going to get older guys, right? There's not going to be guys who are really even in their 30s, like, or really in their 40s most times. Most times the people Vivica Fox are going to meet are going to be very high profile guys. That just is what it is, because she herself is very high profile. So I just wonder if a woman at that level is capable of falling back to the wayside in a relationship, because the guys she's gonna be dating often are not. But let's go ahead and move forward.
Can't answer the question.
No.
Into our organizations, but a man on the outside looking in views that as bossy or controlling. But what it is an asset. Men need to start looking at that as an asset and not something that from being with us. And that's why I love what she said, because she broke it down. Like, no, don't look at that as, don't be turned off by the fact that we have strength in these areas. Come in and match that strength so that we can rest. We're waiting for you. You say you want a woman who has something to bring to the table. You say you don't want a lazy woman and all of that. Well, the very woman that you say you don't want, you're intimidated by. That's when true. All you have to do is come in and say, hey, baby.
Guys, we're not really intimidated by women. We just don't really want to compete in a relationship. So that's not a question. It's just a comment.
Listen, I got it going on as well. Now you can take your crown off and rest and let me do the rest. Bars. I got bars. So
okay.
I really love what she said. It's facts. And I don't know if they know it. I don't know if they know it, but they needed to hear it, especially from a woman who is in control of her own businesses.
Before, it used to just be all about degrees. Now, they're running around talking about they all have a business. They all have an LLC. To be honest, most of y'all ain't running nothing but your mouth. But I'm going to leave that part alone. Go ahead and let them think that they're running organizations or businesses.
Don't be turned off by the fact that we have strength in these areas. Come in and match that strength so that we can rest. We're waiting for you. You say you want a woman who has something to bring to the table. You say you don't want a lazy woman and all of that. Well, the very woman that you say you don't want, you're intimidated by.
No, when all you have to do is be a woman and learn how to stay in your place. Correction, Selena. Men are not intimidated by strong, controlling, bossy, aggressive women. They're just not attracted to you. Get it? Strong, independent ladies. Men are not intimidated by you. They're just not attracted to you. Your whole disposition and attitude turns them off, even if you're physically attractive. And that's because being with women like you to a man is like being with another man. So stop lying to yourself. No one is intimidated by you. Then she said the man has to match the woman's strength. Like, what is this? An arm wrestling competition? This is what they're promoting to an audience of women, that the man shouldn't want a woman to be submissive and cooperative. They should be happy to have an aggressive, strong, controlling woman. You can't make this stuff up.
To be honest with you, ladies, I agree with half of the statements. Because she did a laundry list of requirements for women, for love. So, at this point in my career, I already got the laundry list of what I know I can do.
Selena already said that men believe that women are lazy. And then now you have Vivica Fox saying she has a laundry list of things that she knows how to do. But those things that she knows how to do, obviously, is not of any value to a man. The things that you know how to do, Vivica, is for you. She called it a laundry list of things that Carrie Hilson is saying that a man can get in exchange for emotional security. Her problem is not with the conditional submissiveness or the conditional femininity. Her problem is the quote, laundry list of things that women must do for love. Men who provide emotional security and display wise leadership will get the softest, most feminine, relaxed, trusting, guard down, submissive, nurturing version of their woman. How is that a laundry list of things? Now, I understand it's hard for women who are not naturally like this. It seems impossible to be feminine when you're not feminine. I get it, Vivica. Acting like this is a lot of work.
I need a man I need a partner. I don't need to do this laundry list of submissiveness for someone to love me. I'm looking for men to have a list of things that they show up and be right as well too. Be a gentleman.
So Vivica says that she doesn't need she needs a partner, if you will. So she doesn't feel like she needs to really change in order for a man to love her. I mean, I'm not sure. What do you think?
I think I think whoever this moderator is like manipulating the situation and putting words in their mouth for some things they didn't say. I gotta watch the original interviews, but I did not hear whatever she's regurgitating out again is not what they're saying. Especially what speaking of what Selena said is that she's saying that that she wants someone to match her emotionally. Maybe that was Vivica. And what she meant by that is like, say something horrible happens, like you lose a kid. Some people like break down emotionally, of course, and you want to have like someone to be there with you who will match that energy or match that emotion that keep you all together. And that's when, or if you go into some kind of financial crisis or bankruptcy and stuff like that, you don't want somebody to fall off. We still got to stick this out. I think that's what she means. I don't think that she means like being bossy and all that kind of stuff. That's what that other lady said, but that's not that's not the words that came out of her mouth.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Vivica seems very
but you know,
bossy.
She might, but then you can't be intimidated by that. Might be a facade that she's putting up to as because she's been jacked around a lot. She might want someone to come in and be like, "Hey, Vivica, shut the fuck up." She might want that. Or she might have a man. People are automatically assuming that she don't have anybody.
No, we didn't. No one is assuming that she has a man. We know for a fact that she's not married, though.
She's not married, but she may not want to be. She was married before.
She's been married a few times, so
yeah.
let's get that out the way. But that's not what anybody's saying. I mean, look, it's not. Nobody is intimidated. Like most men are not intimidated by women. It's just, what do we want to deal with at a certain point? Because just like women get to a certain age where they know, what they will and won't deal with, men get to a certain age where we know what we won't deal with. We know that, coming out the gate, women are gonna have attitudes. We know that. We know women are emotional. We're men.
I'm emotional too.
We're not emotional like women. It's an entirely different emotional spectrum for men. The emotional from men is when stuff gets really real. The emotional spectrum from women is, they're women. You're yin to our yang. So we know that when that women are gonna get emotional, just real stuff happens. I mean, you said earlier that if you lose a kid, of course that's a tremendous event in anyone's life. But when it comes to stuff like money, like, hey, Vivica, I lost my job today, man, and I need I need some money to go ahead and pay this or that. A lot of times women they have that, especially once they reach a certain age. It's a my money is my money and your money is my money type situation, and a lot of guys, we're just not gonna deal with that after a while. So I think that Vivica is probably representative of a lot of different women, especially women who reached a certain age, who've been through more life experience. The moderator sounds fairly young. I'm not going to go ahead and say what age she is because I don't know, but she sounds like she's probably under 30, 35.
Makes a big difference.
So it makes a difference from life experience. I mean, Vivica's probably gotten screwed over by guys, but who knows how many guys Vivica screwed over? You don't really know. That's her personal life. But I think women in general, most women are not, but most people don't have her level of economics. So, you know, the average guy doesn't, I should say the average black guy just makes under like 50 grand. It's like 45, 46 grand. So, and we're talking about in America, like it's the richest country in the world. Average woman makes under 40 grand. And that's just is what it is. Most people don't make six figures. It is what it is. Like, so I just think that back to your point, I also think the moderator is missing some stuff. Like I think that she's kind of looking at it as, oh, you're not submissive if you like argue with your man, and I think that's also not entirely correct, because I know as a man there are times when I need to be corrected 100%, and it's to correct me with my personality. You know my personality, you're gonna need to be a certain type of woman to be able to correct me, and for me to be like, damn, she right. There are times I know for a fact I talk reckless. I talk real reckless. And I know there's a woman who be like, yo, you doing too much. Stop. And then if she's right, me not being in my emotional like state, I'm like, damn, she's right. So more to that. But you got anything else?
Yeah, I just don't. I think that I believe that we all want the same things, just we're saying it in different ways. And I think that sometimes these are people who are very higher.
These are not the average people, but
right.
They're still women at the end of the day.
But they're still women, but they still were wanting the same things, and they were agreeing with what Carrie Hilson was saying, and I agree with what she was saying. If you got somebody that you can trust, you do fall back, but you have to he can't let you down, because when he lets you down, it just messes up everything. But
you gotta understand, a guy is gonna let you down at some point.
Certain things, yeah, but then you have to work to rebuild all that stuff again. But it's hard to, when you already messed up, it's really hard to gain that trust back.
Yeah, that goes both ways. We're all human. We're all gonna make mistakes, because that's what humans do. But it just depends on what's the level of messing up, and is the relationship worth it. So let's keep moving.
Take care of me, respect me. You know what I mean? It was like all of these. I just didn't like the laundry list of what women are supposed to do. Submissive, this, to that. For love. Like, so I agree with half of the statement.
Basically, it's okay for women to have their requirements, but men having standards, it's just way too much for them to handle.
Well, I don't think that she's being. I don't think submissive. And see, that's the thing with
said those words.
No, I don't think submission means stupid. And see, I think a lot of women think submission equates to just I do what you say and that's it.
If they agree that the man should be the leader, then what is the problem with following his directions?
Submissive means let me release control of certain things so that he can lead. We can't both have our hands on the steering wheel or the bike. Mm-hmm. Somebody got to ride the bike in the front. Somebody got to sit down to the back.
I just think the laundry list of what
So the things that she said she'd be willing to do, you're not feeling that part.
No.
Okay. And you know what? You don't have to. And that's the good thing about us. Everyone doesn't have to be the same way. That's her opinion. And you know what? It's not all the way resonate with you, and that's fine. Like, I think we're supposed to all
I do want someone to love me. I just don't like the laundry list of things I have to subtract for my strength, my drive.
Translation, Vivica Fox, she wants a simp. A man that's going to come in and do whatever it is that she wants him to do, but not require anything from her.
Well, I don't think you have to subtract those things, Vivica. I think those are the things that attract them in the first place. I think that what she's saying is, if you want to be with us, then if you have to step up and match that same intensity and energy, so that we can rest. so that we can rest. It doesn't mean we stop being strong, we stop being aggressive, we stop, because
You find that in the compromise.
Needs a strong woman. Yeah, every dope man got a strong, dope woman behind him. So at the end of the day,
there's that respect that has to be there. That compromise makes you say, okay, this time is your time.
I do hate that it seems like women are the ones that constantly have to make the adjustment to make these men feel comfortable. Well, we have to be like, I feel like we got the formulas on the chalkboard. We're trying to always figure E equals MC squared, trying to crack the codes, and I don't like that. I do think it is a lot of work, but it all depends on what you want. If you really want that relationship, you might have to make.
Yeah, I don't agree with what she said about women always needing to make the compromises. I think both parties need to make the compromise. Otherwise, it's a one-sided relationship. So, what do you think?
I think that I don't like this moderator, but because I think that Vivica is like, she's probably been through a lot of experience, got a lot of baggage, and she's afraid to let her guard down, which I can understand. She may have been robbed before. You never know.
Why do you go to the most extreme, like,
you just don't know. That's what it sounds like to me. But
at a certain point, it's like, okay, I get that, but this goes to baggage that oftentimes all these women are in their 40 plus. They're all 40 plus, 45, 40, 45 plus. You gotta start understanding that, you've been through a lot, but everyone has been through a lot. And if you keep bringing that old stuff into new relationships, it's not going to work out no matter who you are.
That's very true, but it's really hard to, you have to be able to trust that person, and that's why therapy helps. But it seems like it's really hard to, when you've been through a lot of stuff like that, to like let somebody in, and if they're not bringing the same thing, you kind of like, you kind of like
you're hesitant.
They're hesitant.
Yeah,
because it's scary.
It's
really scary to be, especially like the emotional part.
Dating is all about risk anyway. Every time you go on a date, it's a risk.
Get kidnapped or something.
Yeah.
Yes,
kidnapped. Yeah, I don't know where your mind is at.
Discovery ID.
You going through watching too much craziness, but dating is about risk anyway. I mean, I've been on plenty of dates, and they were horrible. Like, it was absolutely horrible. But I don't bring that. Well, I should say I try not to bring those horrible experiences to my date life, because I know that if I bring some of the experience I've had have been quite traumatizing. I mean, but I do my best to leave it in the past, because I know not every girl is the same. So
yeah, and also depends on the person. Some people can get right over stuff. Some people it takes a minute.
Everybody's different, but again, Vivica's pushing 50, man. She's always, the thing is, women like Vivica are going to have choices for a long time simply because she's Vivica Fox. Mm-hmm. She's pretty, she has money, she's famous and stuff. But most women are not Vivica Fox. Most women are just average women going about their day. So I think that sometimes you have to let your guard down a little bit, or you're gonna continue to either have bad relationships or just be single.
Or if you let your guard down, sometimes you can be letting your guard down for a horrible person and not realize it, because there's a lot of manipulative people out there.
That's the risk of dating.
Yeah, but
that's the risk of dating. You can date 100 guys and 99% of them are horrible. Then you meet the one guy who's that guy, but you're never going to find that one guy if you treat that guy the way you treated the other 99 or however they treated you, because again, that guy has nothing to do.
He has nothing to do with what's going on, but still, it's in the back of your mind still. So.
It's always gonna be in the back of the mind, but you have to be able to say, like, yes, like, let me come with an open mind with this guy, or else that guy's gonna be like, no, because you got too much baggage. So let's go ahead and finish this off, and I'll let you get your last
adjustments. And if you don't, you can always have a sexy little fine little boy toy. And
that's what I'm saying.
I know Vivica. I know you.
Most women want to chill. I know as a strong woman, you already know. I mean, a takeover for me. I don't want to do all this head thinking.
That's right.
I
Just
don't
because
wanna
I'm
do all
strong
this.
and I know how to wear the pants, I want you to wear the skirt and give you the pants. Relinquish.
Woo, ma'am. I don't want to have to do all this here work. You gonna do it. So
I heard that.
step up so I can step down. That's all.
At the end of the day, none of these women believe in submitting to a man. It's a shame that you have them up here talking about how being a natural woman is just too much work for them. It's too hard to figure out what men want. But that's what they're saying. They just simply don't want to do it. They don't want to fall in line. I'm seeing that there's just no hope for these type of women. None. You can't change 40-year-old, 50-year-old women. It's just way too late. They have lived 40, 50 years one way. How are you going to...
I'm not gonna say that you can't change older women. I think everyone could change, but there is something to it. But with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and give you the last bit of commentary, and we'll close out with that.
All right. I don't think that any of them with the. I think all of them said that they were willing to be submissive, except with maybe Vivica. But then later on, she did say in her own words, she just probably didn't understand what's submissive.
They always say it later, like
yeah, because they don't. The word submissive
you
is
have the guard up.
Yeah, the words once they understand what that really means, it's like telling me it's not Mister from what's that movie? The Color Purple. It's like just the man being the leader. Then they all kind of fall back, but it also has to do with maybe being trusting. So I do think that most women do want to be submissive in that word, in that term, where having someone be in leadership, because I know that I get tired of wearing the crown all the time and I want someone else to do it. And I'll be, if the guy is like a good leader and trustworthy and honest and has integrity, by all means, go for it. We'll lead. And I'll trust him to do so. As long as, he's doing everything, he says he's going to do. I know people are human and stuff, but there's some things that are, important to me. But if I feel like, this, if I feel, and also, another part about being a leader is if, everyone has baggage, and if I express to you how I'm feeling because of my experiences, then you like, okay, Shelby, let's talk about this and let's work this out, and this is not what I meant, blah, 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 and it makes me feel better. That's the one part of being able to trust somebody emotionally, because they back you up, you know what I mean?
Okay. All right. Well, is that your final word?
That's my final word.
Okay. Well, everyone.
Make sure you make me look skinny on this too.
She forced me to do this, so.
Talk about some other stuff too.
No, it's only a little short 30-minute or around 30-minute show. But she forced me to do this, so we're doing it, and hopefully we won't have to hear too much of this in the future. But she will be coming on the show at a later date once she comes back to Miami.
We could do it on Zoom or something.
All right, so with that being said, I'm the elevated engineer.
His magnificent elevated sister, Shelby. Oldest sister, Shelby.
That's it.